Hey everyone, so we're on exercise 423 in lesson 5 today, and we're talking about closing entries. So here we have the trial balance for the Sheridan Company. So we'll scroll down and look at this. So the first ones we're going to do are the revenue accounts. And so since revenue accounts usually have a credit balance, we're going to debit them to close them. So the first one we have is service revenue. And we're going to debit them to zero them out. So we have 33,240. We're going to debit that. And then the other revenue we have is rent revenue. Okay, and then we will debit that for 14,250. And next we're going to bring up our calculator, and we're going to debit income summary. That's the account that the sum of these turns into. So the income summary will be the sum of those two. So the sum is 33,240 plus 14,250. And that is 47,490. So that is how we close our revenue accounts. And next we're going to close our expense accounts. And since expense accounts usually have a debit balance, as we can see here, we were going to close them in the credit column. So that means income summary for this one will be in the debit column. But we don't know the sum of all the expenses yet, but we'll get to that. So the first expense we have is salaries and wages. Okay, and then the after adjustment value is 18,370. Okay, credit that, and we're going to credit all of these expenses to zero them out. So the next one we have is supplies expense. We're going to credit that for 1,300. The next expense we have is rent expense. We're going to credit that for 12,533. The next expense is insurance expense. We're going to credit that for 1,360. And our last expense we have is depreciation expense. So we're going to credit that one for 1,200. And then we're going to add all these up, and that will give us our income summary. So we have 18,370 plus 1,300 plus 12,533 plus 1,360 plus 1,200. So our income summary for this balance for our expense accounts is 34,763. Okay. So next we're going to move on to our retained earnings, closing those. And since we're going to do our income summary first, and we're going to go back up here and compare our income summary from our revenues and expenses, see which account it needs to go into. So since credit is higher, we're going to take the debit out of the credit. So we're going to take 47,490, and we're going to subtract 34,763. And that equals 12,727. So that is our income balance. And since it's higher in the credit column, in order to close it, we have to put it in the debit column down here with retained earnings. So we have income summary, which is 12,727. And then our retained earnings is just that same value, 12,727. And our last account that we need to close is dividends. and dividends are up here, and they're normally a debit balance, as we can see. So in order to close them, we're going to put them in the credit column. So we have $27.50 for dividends. So we have dividends. Oops, spelled that wrong. Dividends. Okay, and we're going to credit those for $27.50. And then we have our income summary. No, that's our retained earnings, my bad. Retained earnings, and that's the same as our dividends. Okay, so then we have $27.50 in the debit column of that, and that should about do it. Make sure we got all this. Yep. So once again, that's exercise 4-23. It's pretty simple, mainly just addition, subtraction, making sure you have it in the right column. So let me know if you have any questions.